What the fuck is sleep? I don't even know what that is. Just pull me a forward that tree. Hold up and watch that bitch.
And then, you know, like, nah. And then, so we had like this one nigga, and I forget what his name was. He was in Nashville, whatever. And he made like this big ass post about me. He said like I was trolling and like I was clout chasing and shit. But like, how am I the clout chaser when you make a video talking about my opinion on something or whatever? Like, he's like, oh, well, you trolling. First of all, I have a funny way of saying stuff, and like I get all that. But I don't, anything that it comes out of my mouth, I actually mean. You know, do I say it in a funny way? Yeah. But everything that I said, like, I stand on. And then this nigga, I think he said something in the comments. He told me that he is, and I don't really read the comments and shit like that. But he was saying that like, oh, well, what about like your music? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, first of all, like, my music was way better than that nigga's music anyway. And number two is just like, okay, if I had the resources that Bobby Shmurda did, I could 100% make a better song like than he has. Like, no offense to him, but if I had unlimited budget pretty much and had the industry connects, I could make a hit record too. Like, it wouldn't even be that hard. I really do this. But that nigga, like, what was so fucked up with that situation to me was like, he came in my DM and was like, bro, you lame as fuck. But he was just trying to play like superhero for the day. He was just trying to like stand up for niggas and shit. And I'm just like, bro, like, nigga, nobody cares. It's just my opinion. And then he was just like, oh, bro, like, you lame as fuck, blah, blah, blah. And then like we went back and forth for a minute, and I was just kind of like just messing with him. I was like, oh, bro, like, you really hurt my feelings. And we went back and forth on some shit. And but I never really said anything to the nigga. I was just like, bro, like, it's just my opinion. Like, I really don't care. And then he did all this shit on the internet, like making the posts and everything. And then he sent me one of his songs to look at, like in the middle of us arguing in the DM. And I can show it to you if I remember the nigga's name. But we went back and forth in the DM, and then he sent me his own. Or whatever. And then, you know, he said a bunch of, we actually got into like actual civilized discussion. And he was just like, well, you know, Bobby Shmurda is a top 5 selling artist. He has top 5, top 10 records. He's actually never had a top 10 record. Like, Hot Nigga, I think, went like 14 or 15. And he said, well, you know, Bobby Shmurda, he travels all across the world. He does shows in Europe. He's never done a show in Europe. He's never done one. I actually looked that up. I said, well, him being a felon, I was like, I don't think he can do a show over there. So I actually went and looked and seen if I seen where he did a show overseas. He's never done one. And when I say all this, I'm not trying to disrespect Bobby Shmurda. But everything that I was saying was like true. And then this nigga just went on the internet, and then what I didn't like was, you know, dude was just like, you know, what Sleep is just giving this guy like this platform and yada, 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 yada. And I'm just like, but the stuff that I say is not destructive. Like, I'm not out here dissing dead people. I'm out here making fun of, only people that I've ever made fun of or whatever, said stuff about, is like mainstream artists. I've always said good things about Tennessee artists. I've never said one negative word about a Tennessee artist, and I'll never do it. It don't matter. Only thing I might say is some constructive criticism, but I've never said nothing bad about like a Tennessee artist. I support all y'all niggas from Chattanooga, Knoxville, Nashville, Clarksville, Jackson, Memphis. It don't really matter. I'm always support y'all niggas. But that nigga, that shit to me was just lame. And then you had people in the comments that like, I actually have had relationships and worked with before, like maybe not on a music tip, but like I remember it was one account in there, and I remember I threw a festival about 5 years ago, and I actually took the time, because it was like a big festival thing at the time, I took the time to make them a media pass, and I went to the person's job to like drop it off, and they was in there like just talking shit like they don't know who I am. And that shit kind of like, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I just thought the whole shit was weird. You talking about me cloud chasing, but it's you that's cloud chasing. It's weird. It's just like, if you gonna talk all this shit, don't send me a song. And matter of fact, that song was terrible. I went on the post and said it was fire. It wasn't.